What's up, guys? Brian Grant here. Today I just want to talk a little bit about my experiences at New York City Comic-Con 2017. The clip that you saw at the beginning of this video was my only spin of the wheel. Got myself a 4-star crystal. Got pretty lucky for only having one spin, right? Unfortunately, did not get that 2,500 units. That would have bumped me above my 20K goal that I've been trying to get to for a while. But I probably would have lost them just like I did last year anyway. So whatever. Right now, you're watching the only time that I got to try the Beat the Boss challenge against Mephisto. Mephisto was the boss on Thursday. Friday was Morningstar, and Saturday it was Blade, but Thursday was Mephisto. Thursday was actually the only day that I was able to attend. So I had to, I had to be very deliberate with how I spent my time at Comic-Con. Otherwise, yeah, I would have loved to spin the wheel more. I would have loved to, do the boss challenge more. But my main purpose for going this year was just to meet people. I wanted to meet and talk with Kabam and, ask them some questions that I don't normally get to ask them, or, sometimes you ask on the forums, but of course it's better to hear it directly from them. And I don't have as many answers as I'm sure the other YouTubers have, since I was limited on time. But I've got a few things. I've got a few little tidbits of information here, which we'll get to. I wanted to meet all the other YouTubers who I've been talking with for like a year now, maybe even a little bit more than a year for some of these people who I've never met before. So yeah, I got a chance to do that. And then probably above all, I just wanted to meet just the community in general, man. There's a lot of people that came up to me and said they liked my content, which is amazing. But even the people who didn't like my content, it's just good to talk in person, about the game, man. Like the people who are online getting ready to do the Beat the Boss challenge, whether it was their first time or their 5th time trying to beat Mephisto, it was just awesome trying to come up with different strategies on the fly and try to figure out who is the best champion to go against Mephisto and stuff like that. And I haven't been able to do that pretty much since I started the game. When I first started the game, I started up with 3 friends that I knew in person and that I saw on like almost a daily basis. So yeah, every day, man, we were talking strategy, and we were like bottom of the barrel. Couldn't even do map 1 of Alliance Quest, but we didn't care, dude. We just it was fun, man. It's fun talking strategy, the champions we wanted, didn't want, stuff like that. So yeah, it was good to get back to that again. But let's get back to the conversations that I had with Kabam. So I spoke with a few of the different developers there, but by far the person I spoke with the most, his name is Luke, and he is a producer for Marvel Contest of Champions. And when I heard the title producer, I didn't know what that meant, man. I'm thinking like, geez, producer, like, is this guy even going to know the game? Is he going to know what's going on? Is he going to be able to answer the in-depth questions that I have about Marvel Contest of Champions? Yes, this guy knew everything. Not only did he know everything that's going on in the game, but he didn't even have to think about it. Like I asked the question, and boom, he just had an answer ready to go for me. Some of the things he was like, we can't talk about that, but a lot of the stuff, we had a nice conversation about it. So yeah, this guy knows everything that's going on in the game. Basically, his role, as far as I understand it, is he's like a production schedule manager type person. So he's not involved in just one department. He's involved with everything that's going on in the game, and that's how he knows so much. I did, again, I did talk to some other people, so not everything I'm going to mention here is not directly just from him, but a lot of this is, coming from him. So I wanted to know 2 things going into Comic-Con, and unfortunately these 2 things are the 2 things that could not really be commented on, which kind of sucks, but I understand at the same time. So the 2 things that I really wanted to know the most about was, 1, are we going to get some kind of competitive game mode? And I'm not talking about Alliance War, I'm just talking about a separate competitive game mode. And the other thing I wanted to know is there still that planned customization that was talked about on 12.0, and if they could elaborate on that. And again, these 2 things, unfortunately, they weren't able to say much. But let's talk about what they could say, or what they couldn't say, and what that means. So going back to the competitive game mode thing, yeah, as soon as I kind of brought it up, they were like, we can't talk about that. That's not the worst thing they could have said. The best thing they could have said is, yep, we're working on it. It's looking really good right now. We're confident that it'll be out early 2018, right? That's like best case scenario. Worst case scenario is if they say something like, we're not, it's not planned at this time, but we're open to it, or something like that, which is basically just a nice way of saying, yeah, it's not going to happen. It's like that nice PR way of saying it's not going to happen. Them saying that they couldn't really talk about it, could not say much. I feel like they're at least working on it. Maybe, it might still not hit the game, but I feel like they're at least working on it. and testing it out, seeing if it'll be a good fit for Marvel Contest of Champions, something like that. Who knows? That's not confirmed. That's, again, they couldn't actually say anything. But they were definitely taking notice of all the crazy hype about the competition that was at New York City Comic Con. So that's really interesting. Plus, I did, it was brought up I think it was 2016 San Diego Comic Con, where there was like a miniature alliance war set up, a real, like a fast-paced alliance wars. I wasn't there, so just going by what I heard, I think it was like a 45-minute alliance war or something like that. Much smaller scale. There was like some people standing by helping because it was, more fast-paced, and not everybody who goes to Comic-Con is there just for Marvel Contest of Champions, right? So not everybody's as hardcore in the game and everything, but that was a little bit of a test to see, kind of feel it out and see if people would be interested in that kind of a game mode. They're not saying like they definitely did not say that that's what we're going to be getting or something like that, but I thought it was interesting to know that, on top of just providing like a good experience for the people who attended Comic-Con, they were definitely also feeling that out and seeing, getting some feedback from that. So yeah, I imagine that they're doing a lot of that from this year at New York City Comic Con, and the feedback must have been insane because everybody loved it, man. Everybody loved the competition that was going on. It wasn't perfect. They can't just like take what was at Comic Con and put it in the game. They have to, they have to work on it more. But I think the community's reaction to some kind of competition like that was a very positive one. So yeah, there's a lot of challenges that come with stuff like that, but hopefully they can figure it out and get it added. All right, back to the customization thing. Yeah, again, this was something that they couldn't really comment on. We did talk a little bit though, because again, these were the things that I wanted to know the most. I don't really care what champions are coming in the future. I have a little bit of that information too, but if I'm being perfectly honest, I know nothing about Marvel. I don't care if champion Barfzilla from the planet Barfosaurus Rexville is coming to the game, man. I don't know. I just want to know about like the game modes that are going to be added, the systems that will be in place to allow me to strategize and really customize my champion, and then take them and put them in these competitive game modes. And hopefully the strategy that I use will be better than my opponents, and hopefully my skill will be better than theirs, and that kind of thing, right? So the customization, they couldn't say much. I did bring up that I made like a concept video, just like throwing it out there. And before I could even finish my thought, he was like, "Yep, saw it." And I was just like, "Whoa, really? You guys saw that video? That's interesting." Like, I know that Kabam watches our videos, they read our feedback on the forums, Reddit, everything like that. They definitely have watched the videos that I made about Alliance War. I know that for a fact, that they're taking that feedback. I don't know what they're doing with it, but they're definitely listening to that feedback at least, and the feedback that everybody's giving, not just mine, right? But I thought it was interesting that they actually watched that concept video that I had, so that was cool. I tried to bring up cosmetic stuff, just kind of giving my feedback towards it and saying that I don't really like cosmetic things in games, just because I feel like so many games try to make that like the main feature of a game is, now your sole purpose in the game is to collect a different skin for your character. And it gets old, man. It kind of gets old when every game does that. Plus, it takes away from the identity of a champion. I like joining a game, joining a fight, and knowing, a certain champion looks a certain way, and then I can know what to expect based off of that. I don't want to have to process like, okay, I think that's Nightcrawler under there, but he's on like this, different color scheme and stuff like that, right? I don't really want to do that. So it seemed like they were not going in that direction, which I'd be very happy if they didn't, but they didn't say 100% for sure. Okay, let's get on to some stuff that I can share a little bit more, since yeah, they were a little bit tight-lipped on the competitive game mode and customization and stuff like that. So story, they brought up a few things about story, and I kind of flat out told them I just press skip every single time whenever anything story related pops up. But I do think the motion comics are really cool. The motion comics, they are written by Kabam, and then they're outsourced. They don't actually make those in-house. They just write them and do like the storyboarding for them, or whatever those terms are, man. They talked a little bit about MODOK. I know some other YouTubers said that when they talk to developers, apparently he's like confirmed to being added or something like that. I didn't get that out of developers that I was speaking to, but what I did get is kind of the his role in the story. And I have reason to believe that he might be the final boss of 5.4, and let me explain why I believe that. So it was kind of brought up that the Grandmaster needed MODOK's help to kind of dethrone the Collector and get him out of the picture. But now that the Grandmaster is running the show, he's running the contest, does he have a need for MODOK anymore? And they kind of left it at that. But I thought that was very interesting. So yeah, I feel like there's going to be some, I feel like the conflict is kind of shifting away from, Collector versus Grandmaster, and now it's going to be Grandmaster versus MODOK kind of thing. I mean, again, I haven't been paying enough attention to the story to know like how involved MODOK is in Act 5. So maybe if he's not that involved, maybe he's going to be in like a future act or something like that. But I would not be surprised if MODOK is the final boss of 5.4. That is not confirmed. That's just my own speculation based off of what they were saying. They definitely want to get more story involvement in the game in general. They did talk a little bit more about the most recent motion comics. 'Cause I think those are so cool. So, yeah, I did want to keep that conversation going a little bit. They talked about Guillotine and how they went through a lot of voice actors to find the right Guillotine. And actually, the audition was so cool. It was like so good and so spot on for what they wanted for Guillotine, that they just went with that audition tape, like what we heard in the most recent motion comic where Guillotine's like on the roof flipping through a book and stuff. Like that was apparently like that was the audition. So I thought that was really cool, man. Like somebody nailed it that well. They nailed the character that well, and I thought that was cool. I did ask if we can get like a full like transcript of the story, just like separately somewhere on like the Play Marvel Contest of Champions website or whatever. Because I think Frojo brought that up on one of his streams that I was kind of lurking, and I'm pretty sure it was Frojo. If it was somebody else, I'm sorry. But I think Frojo brought it up that like, it'd be cool that because so many people do just skip through the story, because especially when you're playing, you just want to get to the next node. But I do at the same time kind of want to know what the story is. So if somebody could take the full story, break it down, make a YouTube video that I can just watch in like 2 minutes instead of having to read it every time, then I would do that, and I'd be more involved in the story. So yeah, I just kind of gave them that little bit of feedback. They didn't really have anything to say about that, but yeah, I gave them that little feedback. So I don't know, maybe we'll see something like that in the future. All right, let's talk about new champions. So it kind of came up in conversation about Jessica Jones and how Jessica Jones has been like in the game files forever and stuff like that. And just to give people some kind of answer on that. What was said is that not every character, like some characters might be cool, but they might not be the right fit for a game where it's like hard to give them like a good ability. It's hard to give them a cool, unique ability. They said that it was really easy for Mystic Champions. Mystic Champions happen to be the easiest because, yeah, their imaginations can kind of run wild on how they want to to use their like mystic powers and stuff like that. But skill champions are the most difficult apparently because, yeah, a lot of it is, I guess, just like, different combinations of punches and kicks, and how many different combinations are there and stuff like that, right? So yeah, I think that's what happened with Jessica Jones. They didn't say that she's never coming or anything like that, but it was kind of implied. So yeah, I don't know if I'm taking that the wrong way, but that's the whole deal with her. I brought up the dog just because I don't know any Marvel characters. So again, like I don't really care what characters get added, but I brought up the dog from last month's monthly event quest. I don't I'm sorry, I forget the dog's name. But yeah, I was just like, well, would you guys ever consider adding someone like that, right? And they had an answer right away, actually. So it must have been something that they thought of. What they said is that it would take a lot of work because it's the dog is a quadruped. It's got 4 legs, right? And with like all the new champions that come out, they all have to have unique animations and stuff like that, right? Except for like the very first early on champions, right? All the newer champions, they have to have unique animations. But where they save a little bit on animation development time, or whatever you want to call it, is when characters get hit. So it doesn't really matter what champion it is. When you're getting punched in the face, it's, they share that animation pretty much. And with a quadruped, it would have to be a little bit different because obviously four legs. Maybe some of it will look similar, but it is something that takes a little bit more work. They didn't really have much more to say about the dog. I wasn't actually serious when I brought up the dog, but I thought that was a little bit interesting. That I never really thought about it. That, yeah, when champions get hit, it is the same, but it doesn't matter because we're focused on like the character that's doing the attacking, right? I brought up science champions. It's kind of as a joke. Like, I know we didn't see like the last of the science champions, but I said something along the lines of like, can we at least get a science champion in 2018? I'm pretty sure that's what I said. Because the response was a little bit interesting. The response was like, well, do you really want to wait that long? And I know some other people, again, have said that like MODOK was confirmed to them or something. I don't know how true that was. I wasn't there for those conversations, unfortunately. But maybe that's what that was in reference to. So yeah, maybe MODOK is a coming at the end of the year here. Don't know. But I wanted to talk more about like balance actually when I brought up science champions, because I'm not really too concerned about like big gaps between getting like new characters of certain class types, but part of the issue is that it creates these great imbalances because like some of the newer champions, well, pretty much all of the newer champions, they tend to be like a little bit better than the older champions, right? I mean, it's only natural, right? Otherwise, why even create these new characters if they're not going to be even, if they're just a little bit better than the older ones? Of course, then we're going to want them, we're going to want to get them, we're going to want to play with them and stuff like that, right? It's like that in pretty much every game. It's just how it is. And we haven't gotten a science champion for very long, so that's part of what's making them feel weak. And I was just trying to kind of ask them just about balance in general, and they didn't really have anything to say on like the balance of a certain class, like of science. But what they did say is that they want to update a lot of the older champions. They actually want every champion to have a purpose, and he was kind of adamant about it. Like they really wanted every champion to feel good when he pulled that champion. They need to have some kind of a purpose. And we wouldn't really elaborate any more on that. And I didn't know. I don't really know what that means. Like the only way that I could see every champion having some kind of a purpose is kind of a similar system to a video that I created last year after Comic-Con, after seeing the Beat the Boss challenge last year. Because last year you only had to survive. You didn't actually have to kill the boss. So then I was thinking like, wow, that actually makes it like kind of a use for defensive champions if they have some kind of survival mechanic to it. And then I'm thinking back to like the competitive game mode thing, and maybe the competitive game mode will tie into some way of making all of these champions like actually feel good to pull. So I don't know where Kabam is going on that front, but they really want like every champion to feel good. And of course, a lot of the champions need to be updated for that to happen. So we did talk about updating older champions. He did mention that a lot of the older champions feel very basic compared to the new ones. The conversation kind of shifted at one point, but I actually wanted to say to him, don't know if he's watching this video right now, but I kind of wanted to say like some people actually do prefer some of those basic champions. I'm sure they're aware of that, and they'll figure out some way to maybe increase their abilities while still keeping them like relatively simple to use. I don't know. But they brought up a little bit of what's involved in buffing these older champions, and these guys, I mean, these guys are very creative people. These guys love what they do. They want to go all out on this stuff. They don't just want to like turn a knob and tweak the numbers. Like when they go back and redo a champion, if you look back to the other champions that they didn't just give them more attack, right? They changed their animations, they changed their abilities, and Iron Patriot was brought up. And just as an example, he didn't say that this was what was coming, but he said like, what if Iron Patriot gets some kind of a power drain? They kind of want to have like just touch up some of the ability animations just to kind of reflect some kind of power gain, possibly if necessary, right? Again, this was just an example. Maybe it wouldn't be necessary in that case, but I'm sure they don't want every champion to share abilities, and Iron Patriot still shares a special 2 with Black Bolt, so something like that. They would want to redo that stuff too. So it's more than just turning a knob and increasing attack. They have to adjust a lot of things when they redo these champions. So it does take a lot of work, and of course they do have to keep pushing out new champions that tie into all the new releases and stuff like that. And the people who handle like all of the character art and stuff like that, it's a very small team. Apparently, it's just like three main people that take care of all that stuff. Hopefully, I'm not getting that incorrectly here, but I believe that's what was said. I asked if their intentions were to go back and redo some of the synergies. Now that we have these unique synergies, would some of these unique synergies be given to the older champions? And they said yes, that's part of the plan. They didn't say like every champion was going to get them, but the unique synergies, that's definitely part of their plans for updating some of these older champions. I also asked about masteries, and that was another thing that they said that they want to add more of. Of course, they want to keep updating all this stuff, but they didn't really have anything concrete to say about like, yes, Mastery X is coming on this date or whatever. There was nothing really to share there other than, yes, they're not done adding masteries. I kind of forgot to ask about the level cap, or maybe not really forgot, but just kind of ran out of time. Otherwise, I would have asked about the level cap, because I know a lot of people are curious about the level cap, if that's going to get increased when we get new masteries and that kind of thing. We talked a lot about game development just in general, and I kind of was curious about what the early days of MCOC looked like. And I found it pretty interesting to know that they said at one point they had plans to make it like a rhythm-based fighting game, or they tried it or something like that. I don't know how far they got with that idea, but I'm glad they didn't go with it because that sounds pretty bad. So yeah, probably would not be playing this game if it was like that. They said that there was a few different traditional fighters that influenced them. Street Fighter, I think, was one of their biggest influences, but they couldn't just take like a straight port of that game and throw it on a mobile device and add some Marvel characters, right? Because that would not work on touchscreen. He mentioned that in those traditional fighters, it's very precise, and some things are like frame perfect that you have to pull off in order to keep your combo going or interrupt somebody or whatever. So yeah, they definitely could not do something like that. I asked if we can get like some old screenshots of like the really early days before it was even live, or just like the alpha days, or like even before that, just to see like anything. I think that'd be pretty cool if they could kind of go back and show some of that stuff. I feel like it'd be pretty interesting to see, just how far Marvel Contest of Champions has come. And finally, I had to bring up bases, right? So I asked about bases. I didn't ask when bases were coming. I just want to know more about the game mode in general. Like what's the goal for bases, right? What's it trying to accomplish, right? What hole is it trying to fill in the game? And their response was, well, have you played Transformers Forged to Fight? Because that game has bases. And I said, no, I haven't. And they said, well, if you want to see, then, check that game out. I don't think they were just trying to, like, promote that game, right? They just saying, like, if you really are curious about bases, like, that's what it was meant to be, like in Transformers. And then they asked, like, if you play it, then let us know if you think it'd be a good fit for Marvel Contest of Champions. So the feeling that I got from that conversation was like maybe bases, maybe after seeing it live in Transformers, maybe they think maybe it's not the best fit for Marvel Contest of Champions, at least not in that version. So yeah, they didn't really say anything other than that, but I'm thinking either we're going to get something entirely different, something that's maybe still called bases but looks way different than the Transformers mode, or maybe they're going to scrap it all together. I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. But there's nothing too clear about it at the moment. But I just thought it was kind of an interesting conversation. There was a lot more that I wanted to talk about. Like I said, unfortunately, I only had the one day. There were at least 3 other developers there that I really did not get a chance to talk to that much. Kabam DK was there. He was the only one that I recognized the name off of the forums, and I only talked to him for maybe like 2 minutes, and I didn't really get to talk about the game much. It was just just little small talk stuff. One of the character developers was there, and I didn't get a chance to talk to him much about the game either. But I thought this was super cool. He actually went to the community party. We had, a bunch of us there, all had a couple of drinks, and he actually, like the two of us, we played a round of DDR together, Dance Dance Revolution. Like he was saying, what games do you want to play? And I said it as a joke, and then yeah, we actually played it, and I'm hoping there's no footage of it out there, man, because that was pretty bad. He was actually pretty good, but no, not good at all. And then one of the developers that I kind of missed my opportunity to talk to, we were just kind of, it was more small talk stuff, and kind of how YouTube's life was going. And he was recommending to learn Unity if I wanted to, make my own games. And I kind of stupidly said, like, Unity, nah, I'm too focused on this other stuff. And then afterwards, I'm like, idiots, I just missed my chance. Like, how often do I get to talk to game developers? I could have asked them, like, oh yeah, what do you think I should focus my learning on and stuff like that. So, yeah, a little bit of a missed opportunity there for me personally. But I am going to start actually going through some Unity tutorials and stuff like that. And yeah, I'm going to dedicate like an hour each morning to just learning that stuff because I really do want to make my own games, man. Very, very badly, as you guys know. So yeah, that's my plan for the future is still doing YouTube stuff, still all the stuff that I want to do, still my imaginary website. But in the morning time, I'm going to spend like 1 hour each day learning Unity. But even though I couldn't talk to all the developers that I wanted to, I have no regrets about the weekend because again, it was more about the community than anything. Got to meet all these wonderful people. Here's just a few of my favorite pictures that were shared on Twitter. These actually none of these are mine. Most of these come from Arby actually. So shout out to Arby. But yeah, this was at the community party. This was me throwing the headband on. It's actually the developer that played DDR with me, so yeah, that was pretty awesome. Just me with the headband again. This is Legacy, of course, after he won on Thursday, sporting the For Loki headband. That's what I'm talking about, man. For Loki versus the world. This is just a bunch of the YouTube community right here. This is again at the community party. We were having a little celebration drink for Dave's birthday, actually. So yeah, that was a good time. There's a bunch of people that came up to me at Comic-Con and said hi, which is awesome. Unfortunately, I like this is the only picture that was sent over to me. If you guys took a picture with me, please send it over on Twitter, man, because I took no pictures. But yeah, it was really good to meet everybody. Actually, this was me from last year, but somebody shared this again. But yeah, this is me from last year. I think I need to edit out this caption saying like "Don't do crack, kids" or something like that. I think I need to retire the open mouth smile. But anyway, still a good time from last year. This was a little Photoshop that was done by Stewed Shrimp here. One of the people that stops by the streams a lot, also known as Dachi Dachi, Daniel the Shovel, Krabs, Fat Seaton, whatever names he's going by today. Made this little Photoshop edit here at the end of the night, and then possibly my favorite picture of them all. Dude, Yeet's face in this picture is freaking priceless, man. Just it's amazing. So yeah, really good time. Shout out to everybody that actually came. Cannot wait for next year. I'm hoping that I can go next year. I'm gonna be on the other side of the country next year, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, hopefully I can make it. And yeah, that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.